Hi, my name is Saktidat. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to understand what is the significance of Android development in 2026 and how to make a kickstart on this. So basically, Android app development is one of the most powerful and future-proof skills you can learn in 2026. From startup to global enterprises, Android powers billions of devices, smartphones, TVs, wearables, cars, and even IoT systems. In the beginner-friendly Kickstart guide, we will understand what Android really is, core components of Android application, what Android Studio does, modern Android architecture, why learning Android in 2026 is still a smart career move. So let's get started. So created this document to understand about Android in 2026, how to make a start on this. So what is Android? Android is open source operating system developed by Google, mainly used in mobile devices like smartphones and tablets. But in 2026, Android is much more than phone. It runs on Android TV, Wear OS smartwatches, Android automotives, foldables and tablets, IoT and smart devices. So basically, it's not limited to your mobile phones and or tablets. Now, Android is used in many different and the scope of Android is now not limited to mobile. It is now used in many places, like in the automobile, in the IoT devices. So and in the wearables, like in the smartwatches and all. So in many different devices this and now Android is being used. So that is why learning Android and being to be a Android developer is making sense in 2026, and which will be very good if someone starts Android development in 2026. So Android apps are primarily built using Kotlin and Java, with Kotlin now being prepared modern languages. Basically, in early days, Android was developed using the Java programming language, but later Google has announced Kotlin will be the official language for Android development. So since 4 to 5 years, or it's near about 5 years now, Kotlin is the official language for Android development. But now Java is also can be used. We can use both Kotlin and Java, but Kotlin is the official language for Android development, and so that is why these two languages are preferable for Android development. So now next we will be understanding the core components of Android application. So what are the core components of Android application? So first one is the activity. Activity means like when you are open a mobile application and you are just let's say you are opening Facebook application, and we are able to see some screens. So those whatever screen it is, so any screen can be referred as an activity. So activity is nothing but what a user can see in an application. So that is what activity is. So this is the first core component. So yeah, just like we can see some examples like login screens, home screen, setting screen. So those are nothing but the activity. What exactly it handles like activity? So it is UI rendering, user interactions. Like we can let's say in an application we're able to see some screens, and we can click on the buttons, and we can type something. Means it's a kind of user. It can take user inputs. So that is what user interaction is. And it handles life cycle management also. So we will be learning that thing, but in this video we will be covering the basic part of these core components. So next core component is service. So service is basically what exactly service is. It basically handles the background worker. Like background worker means some of the things users not always required some user interaction. So it is a kind of something can be executed in the background of the screen. That is what refer to the service. That is what service refers to. So a service basically runs task in the background without a UI. So now basically currently there are two type of service. One is foreground service, one is background. But service has been introduced as a core component in Android only for background task initially. Now it does some two type of work. One is background task, one is some foreground task that is not for major UI interaction. It is just for a notification kind of thing. That is what refer to the foreground services. We'll be learning that part later part, but now we'll be just understanding what service is. So for for a non let's say what you can understand what exactly service is. Let's say some music play is happening, so that is what because music play it not required to interact every time, so it can be run, it can be executed in the background, like without user intervention also. Music play can be happen and we can listen it, no need to interact. That is what music playing is done by services. File downloading, then location tracking, background sync, some of the operations like we can sync from the background. So those kind of thing can be possible by the service. Okay. So now let's move to the next core component, that is broadcast receiver. So what is a broadcast receiver? As per the naming convention, it basically broadcasts something, some events it broadcast. It can broadcast some system event, it can broadcast some user defined events also. So this is what the broadcast receiver is. So this component listens for system or app wide events. Example, some of the system events like battery low, when your battery is low in your device, or internet connectivity changes. Let's say you are using your mobile network and switch to the Wi-Fi. So those kind of events can be notified to the even notified to the user as well. And application perspective also, those we can use that as well, like any kind of system events can be broadcasted. And device boot completed, you are restarting your device, and those kind of system events can be handled by this broadcast receiver. So that is what it is one of the major components of Android. So the next component, which is the major and last one, that is content providers. So you can see this is the content provider, data sharing. Basically it does data sharing. Content provider is used to share data between apps securely. Example, like basically when you can see in your app, like in your device, you can see contacts. When you are saving some contact, that will be saved in the content provider only. Or let's say you are taking a picture, that picture can be saved in a content provider. So those are basically storing data, and also we can share that data. So that is handled by this content provider core component. What is the example? Just I have explained contacts, media files, and custom database sharing. Custom database sharing is a user defined content provider that we can learn in the later part, but in this video we are just understanding the core components and the basics of Android. Okay, so next, how we can develop the Android application. Basically, to develop an Android application, there is an official IDE that is known as Android Studio. So Android Studio is the official IDE for Android development. It provides everything needed to build Android apps. So what are the key features of Android Studio that we need to understand? First one is smart code editor with Kotlin support, emulator to test apps on virtual devices. So basically a Android Studio can able to open a virtual device, that is known as emulator, where you can see a very similar to mobile phone kind of software. There we can install our application, whatever we are coding, and we want to display in the mobile. Even without physical device, we can use in the emulator. Emulator is it's a virtual software which can able to show you the build after the application is built. Then we can see how it looks, that we can see in the emulator. The next is layout editor for UI design. So Android Studio also has some it gives some capability like layout editor for UI design, so we can design the UI as per our requirement. So that can be possible using the layout editor. Then the next, debugger and profiler for performance analysis. So basically whenever we are doing some application development, so we have to debug like the workflow, and because without debugging we cannot understand the flow, how our execution is happening. So that part need to be sometimes need to be understand using the help of debugger. So we can understand the flow, the control of execution, how it happens. That is can be possible using the help of debugger. Next is built-in Gradle build system. So basically Gradle is a build system which is now available in Android Studio, and it is a very performant build system. It is also the modern one. Earlier, some Maven and ANT build systems were using initial time. Now it is like Gradle. Most many of the IDs is using a Gradle system only. So that is also in Android Studio, that is also available. Then AI assistant is also available. Now we can have Google Gemini, which is available in Android Studio. We can take the help of Google Gemini to write our code. So that is also there. Okay, so now we understand what is Android Studio. Some of the basic things we have understand that part. So now let's understand in the in this Android, how Android works. So now we will be understanding how Android basically works. Just like we are writing some code and installing into the Android Studio, and we can see the application, but actually after installing we can able to interact, but internally how it works. So that also need to understand. So this is nothing but your Android framework architecture. Okay, so in the top level, this is the layer, like the top level layer for Android application architecture is, that is application layer. Application layer means whatever application we are using, let's say Facebook, WhatsApp, and this kind of social media application people are very much used to. So when you are opening a spawning on any kind of application, and we can see some dashboard, and so those are nothing but application layer. Okay, so what it has basically, the camera and UI, dialer, SMS, this kind of some of the examples of applications layer, the top level of the Android application. The next is, but when we are interacting that how it communicates to the device level. Now we are, next level will be the application framework layer. Okay, so in this application framework layer, there are some managers are available, like activity manager, window manager, view system, content providers, resource manager, notification manager, package manager, and location manager. So these managers are also basically in these are available in framework level. So whenever, sometimes also we need from the to use all these things. So in the application, in the Android application development, we need to handle these managers classes also. So that are also very important to understand as well. The next level will be the Android runtime. Okay, so Android runtime basically contains core Kotlin libraries, core Java or Kotlin libraries. That is basically for developer perspective, that is not much interactive, but we have to just understand what is the next level, where how the interaction comes. First one is the application layer, then application layer interacted to the application framework layer, then it comes to the Android runtime plus core libraries. So those are basically kind of communication happens. Then next one is hardware abstraction layer, that is HAL. So in this hardware abstraction layer, there are some components are there, like camera HAL, audio HAL, sensors HAL, GPS HAL. So those abstraction layers are also available in the Android framework. Then last one is the Linux kernel. Linux kernel is the last part, or it's the core part. Basically Android runs on top using the Linux kernel. So Linux kernel is basically run by these drivers, file system, power management, and binder IPs and all, process management as well. So this is basically all about basic of Android system and how it works. So in this we have understand what is Android, what is its significance in 2026, why it is important to make a kickstart in 2026. Then what is the core components of Android. We learn, we just make understand about activity, then service, then broadcast receiver, content providers. Then what is Android framework, like how it basically works internally. What are the layers it has. One is the application layer, which is the outermost layer, then application framework layer, then Android runtime plus core libraries, then hardware abstraction layer, then the last core layer is, that is the Linux operating system. So that is what we have so far understand. Now I will take you to the like to the Android Studio, how we can create a simple application and run it. So let's jump to the Android Studio. So we can download Android Studio from the developer official developer site, like developer.android.com. This is what the URL, and we can see the latest Android Studio. Clicking on by clicking on this, as per your system operating system, let's say for Windows or like Mac OS, whatever you are using, as per that it will be redirect you to download that particular version of Android Studio variant of that particular variant, and we can download here in this link. So just go to the developer.android.com website. There this Android Studio latest version can be downloaded and can be installed to the your PC. So now I have the Android Studio in my system. So let's go to there and we will see how we can create a simple application and run it and see in the simulator. So let's go to the Android Studio. Okay, so let's close this and we can create a new one. New project. So here you can see there are many options are coming in the Android Studio. First option is phone and tablet, then Wear OS, television, automotive, XR, generic. So there are many options, but now we'll be understanding regarding phone and tablet. So by going the first option, there are many other options are also there, like how we can create an application, like empty activity, basic views activity, bottom navigation views, empty view activity, navigation drawer views activity, responsive views activity, game activity. So these options are some, there are some predefined templates are available. Why these templates are available? Because that will make our development easy and we can get some template files from the beginning. That is why these options are given. So for this, now what we will go with the basic view activity. So now I just select this basic view activity, then click next. Here we can see in the next view we need to provide a name of the application. Let's say we can provide some demo sample app. We have to use a good naming convention as per like that, demo sample app. So camel case kind of way we can mention here. Okay, the next is the package name whatever as per your choice you can give, separated by this like dot marks. So we can do like this. Save location means we can you can select as per your system. You can choose some location where you want to save the project. Next is language. Basically there are two options, like I have told you. One is Java and Kotlin is the as of today Kotlin is the official language and it is more prior means important than Java. So better to use Kotlin because it is the advanced, and for Android it is the official language. Okay, so minimum SDK is what does it mean, minimum SDK? Basically, so basically because let's say one updated Android version has released by the Google. Let the latest one is Android 16. Okay, but it doesn't mean everyone has Android 16 devices. Everyone can have that. So to handle that type of scenario, let's say a person has Android 10 devices, that is very much lower than Android 16. So those kind of things, because we have to make an application that should many people can use, and it should target many audiences. So for that kind of thing to handle, so we need to use this minimum SDK, and so that many of the users can be use your application. And it is this is a compile time. This particular minimum SDK will be applicable to your application, and accordingly we can develop further. Then the last option is Kotlin DSL configuration. Whatever, like it is already there, is no this option no need to change. We can go click on finish. Okay, yeah. So after click and finish this, the project will be loading and it will be sync all these required libraries from the server. So just it will take a few minutes to just sync the project. Yeah, I think now the sync is complete. So you can see like we have chosen a particular template, and as per that there are some basic classes are automatically created. Like this is the main activity, like I have explained you, activity is a component of Android application. So this is nothing but the activity. So app compat activity, it is nothing but an activity only. So in this way, this is a basic class of activity which is already being created. Now if we expand, we can see there is a manifest folder. In the manifest folder there is a android manifest.xml file. So this file is very important to understand, because this is the entry point of the Android application. When it loads, the system can understand what are the components that are being used by reading this manifest file. Okay, so this is what like I have told you, this is a component, like activity is mentioned, one activity is there, so this a particular activity is mentioned here. But in the top level there is an application element, because this manifest file is a XML file. So this is, we can consider as these are the elements. Application is the element, activity is the element as per XML file, but this is the manifest file, Android manifest file. Okay, so so this is just for understanding, like if any components we are going to add in the application, that also need to mention here. Maybe we need more activities. As per that, we have to add all those activities need to be mentioned in this manifest file. Or services or broadcast receivers, content providers, whatever we are going to add in the Android application, everything need to be mentioned in this manifest file. So this is this is the first important file which system can read. System need to read for what are the components that are being used in the Android application. Now next, in this folder basically we have to write our Kotlin classes. Depending upon our project, we have to mention everything. So this is one Kotlin class, first fragment.kt. Kt means kt is nothing but Kotlin. Main activity, like I have already mentioned earlier. Second fragment. So whatever classes, this is some of the basic classes is automatically created, but later on we need to add as per our requirement. This is for now. Next come to this Android text folder. So basically whenever we need to do the unit testing and like instrument testing and all, so those to do that, to perform that unit testing and all, this particular Android test folder is available, and we'll be learning it later on. Now just for your understanding, you just understand what are the folder structure in this. And this is the resources means, let's say we'll be using some images, like layouts, or any kind of text, whatever if required. So these are basically like drawable is nothing but the images we have to add here. Like layout is basically the UI part. We have to add some for any kind of activity there should be some UI. So those can be possible by editing all these layout XML files. Okay, so as per that, these are all these are fall under this resources resources folder. Okay, the last one is the Gradle scripts. So Gradle is the build system basically, which run the build and run the application. So there are some of the different type of Gradle files are there. One is this top one is the project level Gradle file. So here the project level dependencies or libraries need to be mentioned, project level, and another one is the module level. So what is module basically? Why there are two? Because module can be more than one. That is why. So this is primarily we have a single in the native in the Android app. While creating the application, there will be a default module that as per that we have to. So this is nothing but the default module. But let's say while we are scaling up the application, let's say we may need some more another module. In that thing, we have to mention that module. A Gradle file corresponding to the another module can be also created. So that is why the project level Gradle file is also there and module level is also there. Okay, So in the module level Gradle file, that is all the dependencies and all these SDK level version, everything are mentioned. So that need to be understand here. So this is the basic structure of the Gradle file. Here some plugins plugins has been mentioned, like Kotlin and Android application plugins. Then this is Android block. Inside that this main SDK, target SDK, these things I'll explain it in the later, but as just to understand what is the basic part in this Android application. And these are the dependencies means, while I mean some of the libraries. Okay, so while we because whatever components we are using, let's say activities and services, whatever in the classes we are using some of the library, like so some of the libraries, because I mean to perform some of the code execution, we need some libraries. So that are all those libraries need to be mentioned in this dependencies block. Okay, so this is nothing but all about like the structure of a sample Android app, and the how we can create a Android application in the Android Studio. Now here we can see there is a run button. So this particular tangle button is nothing but a run button, and this is the emulator is showing, because emulator if it is not visible, then need to create that. Okay, so that can be created, but it is here already I have created. If it is not there, need to just create another another emulator need to create. Okay, select multiple devices, that we can go and that we can create another emulator if required. But as it is already being created, I just need to click the run button. So now the build is being started, and see, you can see now this is the emulator, and it is nothing but whatever, if we connect a physical device and will run that, it will execute and install the same view in the device as well. So now we have achieved it just by using the emulator. So this is what the benefit of Android Studio, and it provides this emulator to install. It's a virtual device, we can say, and we can install and see the view. So this is like it's yeah. So for your understanding, this is nothing but the activity, we can say, because activity is what we can interact with. Okay, so like that only. So basically how, so in this video basically we have understand what is the significance of Android application in 2026 and how we can make a kickstart. And I hope you understand. And so if you like this video, please share to others. And thank you for watching this video. I will see you in my next video.